Greetings everyone, welcome back to the world of Archie Sonic. Today we're tackling issue 213, which begins a small series of two-parters that has Sonic and a fellow freedom fighter visiting a part of Mobius and help solve a problem there. Considering that this issue comes right after the Iron Dominion saga, which I remind you is 12 issues long in the main series, and a 4-issue Sonic Universe arc, it's a good idea to scale things down a bit. By the looks of the cover, which isn't always accurate mind you, Sonic and Sally are about to get into some hijinks along with the return of Big the Cat and the Wolf Pack. Let's get started. We begin with Sonic and Big surrounded by the cat people. You remember them from the Sonic Adventure adaptation, right? The Queen's not happy with Sonic being here, and at Big for bringing Sonic in the first place. She really loses it when the two bring up the Ancient Onyx, the cat people's sacred artifact, because wouldn't you know it, it's missing. Sonic tries to explain, but the Queen will have none of it from an outsider. Instead, she'll bring in a recounter consisting of this garb. She explains that in their society, what they wear determines their identity, station, and so forth. Thus, when Big puts on the recounter garb, he becomes the recounter. Yeah, good luck getting a story out of him, Your Highness. Luckily for Big, Sonic catches on to the clothing custom and says he's wearing the clothes of the recounter's interpreter, i.e. his gloves, which gives him the excuse to tell the story. He and Sally were invited to the area by the Wolf Pack to become honorary members. After being greeted by various members, they meet up with Lupe, who's become Grand Chief of the new Wolf Pack Nation. She explains that thanks to Robotnik's original attacks, the various packs were scattered and broken, and she brought everyone back together by settling on their ancestral home. That's quite an accomplishment, Lupe. Too bad she can't seem to get her own children to behave. Well, you cannot win them all. And yes, all 4 children are hers. She adopted a couple of Overlander girls a number of issues ago. Later at a meal, we learn why only Sonic and Sally came down. Tails is taking Antoine and Bunny on their long-awaited honeymoon, where I'm sure nothing bad will happen to them. No sir, Rotor's busy with council stuff, and Amy's guarding the city. Lupe and her husband Lobo don't mind. This was going to be an informal ceremony anyway. Only problem, the sacred object needed is missing. And wouldn't you know it, it's the Ancient Onyx. They believe the cat people have it. You know, I should probably call them by their actual name, the Fili-die. Anyway, Lupe's kids arrive to tell her a Fili-die warrior just appeared. Whoever this is must be frightening enough for the kids. Yeah, get a good look at this warrior. The way he struts into the village with his fishing rod and a frog on his head. Sonic diffuses the situation by saying Big's cool. He helped out during the Chaos incident, though no mention of Silver Sonic 2. The reason Big's here? The Fili-die are mad about the missing Ancient Onyx, accusing the wolves of taking it. Two sides accusing each other of stealing a sacred object. Sonic and Sally volunteer to look into the situation further as a third neutral party. Sonic and Big will meet with the Fili-die while Sally looks into something, and that's where the flashback ends. The Queen is considering that all this may be true, but wants to know where Sally is. Well, we see her traveling to the site of the failed Echidna colony. Hey, I remember you from issue 84. Knuckles probably told her about this place. She's here on a hunch. If another faction wants the Wolfpack and the Fili-die to duke it out over the Ancient Onyx, then a place like some abandoned ruins would be the perfect hiding place. Sure enough, the place is currently occupied by a chapter of the Dark Egg Legion. Before Sally can leave, she's caught by everyone's favorite punching bag, Drago. She tries to escape when she runs into another member. Your eyes are not deceiving you. This is indeed Razorclaw, the champion that fought Locke and lost. Sally pulls the old dodge and let the two hit each other technique. Must have learned that from Antoine. The two slash at each other until their robes are off, revealing their robotic arms. Also, the two are grandmasters. With reinforcements arriving, Sally has no choice but to surrender. Back over to Sonic. He says that his shoes mean he's a negotiator, which allows him to offer the following. have him help the Felidae track down the ancient onyx and find a way for them and the wolf pack to share it. The Queen will consider this if Sonic gets rid of Big. Sonic knows what get rid of means and alters it to exile. Once the crisis is over, Sonic will take Big home with him. This bums Big out until Sonic reveals a great fishing spot near New Mobotropolis. Seems things are going well until Lupe and her pack arrive, armed for war. Oh joy. You didn't expect the return of the cat people, huh? This is another example of what writer Ian Flynn did during this time. When not killing off useless characters, he would reshape them and or flesh them out beyond their original concept. I stated throughout my review of the Sonic Adventure adaptation that I did not care for the cat people subplot. It was an excuse not only to have a group related to Big the Cat, but to serve as the enemy for Pachacamax Echidna group. Here, I find them a lot more tolerable, thanks to learning more about their culture. Remember in issue 81 where a member of the scouting party says she'll meet with the Queen, then puts on the robes and bam, she's the Queen. Well, Ian's embracing this ridiculous idea. Clothing determines your identity, status, and so on and so forth. Also, the cat people were given an actual name. I reread the Sonic Adventure adaptation, and the name Fili-die did not pop up once. Fili-die is actually a real word. There are different definitions of the word, but what it ultimately boils down to is a family of cats. Domestic cats, various wild cats, and so on. Oh, and the Queen's also been given a name, Hathor. You know, every time I see or hear that name, I think of that red-headed Gould lady from Stargate SG-1. Anyway, also established in this issue was an old rivalry with the wolves. Hey, we gotta get our story conflict somehow, which brings us to the Wolfpack Nation. It's actually nice for Lupe and her crew to finally have a measure of peace for a while. For those who don't know, Lupe and her Wolfpack have popped up here and there throughout the comics, whether to help Sonic and his friends, or to find a home. They've made many sacrifices, with Lupe herself getting turned into a robot for a time. But as you can see, things ultimately worked out. Again, for a while. Sonic and Sally were in fine form this issue. The Hedgehog quickly catches on to the Felidae's clothing system, and was this close to working out a deal with the Queen until Lupe and her gang showed up. Sally had a hunch that there was another party involved in this conflict, since neither the cats or the wolves had the sacred object, and where they may have set up shop. Nice detective work there. Drago working for Eggman was hinted at back in Sonic Universe issue 15, so this didn't completely come out of nowhere. Razorclaw though, to go from the Queen's champion to one of Eggman's lackeys, something had to have happened. Before you say anything, the next issue will give us the details. One more character I want to talk about is Big. Him being his simple self throughout all this is kind of endearing. I'm kind of glad that when this is all over, he'll be moving to New Mobotropolis. Of course, the real reason is he's a game character, and New Mobotropolis is where the heroes hang out. Stephen Butler returns to pencil this issue and the next one. After rereading the Sonic Adventure adaptation, which he also worked on here and there, it's all the more jarring to see what he did on this story. He tried to continue his art style of having non-Sega characters have muscular builds, but it clashes with the comic's cartoony foundation established by Tracy Yardley in issue 160. Now if you like this mishmash, that's fine. And keep in mind, I like the old Butler style back in the double digits era. Part 1 gets an 8, mainly for expanding and enhancing past continuity, which I always appreciate. Plus, I did like the slow beginning, how the story establishes the area between the two tribes before the conflict can heat up. Well, hopefully Sonic can prevent things from heating up, and Sally can get out of her current predicament. We'll see what happens in issue 214. Big's recounter outfit. It's simultaneously ridiculous and awesome. What do you think?